Right now on Morning News Now, a landslide win for Donald Trump in Nikki Haley's home state.
South Carolina, thank you very much. Go home, get rest. I have never seen the Republican Party so unified as it is right now.
Today is not the end of our story.
Now, Nikki Haley vowing to stay in the race with Super Tuesday just days away. Plus, new this morning, a major shakeup for the GOP. The head of the Republican National Committee has just announced her resignation. We have team coverage. Also this morning, more airstrikes in the Middle East. American and British forces targeting Houthi rebels in Yemen to stop the Houthis' attacks on ships in the Red Sea. Meanwhile, some progress on a potential ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas. We'll have the latest. And a social media showdown raising questions about freedom of speech. The Supreme Court now set to weigh in on two separate laws involving the censorship of controversial social media posts. More on the debate and how it could impact what you see when you scroll. Plus, safety concerns over a beloved tradition in college sports, why some are calling for fans to stop storming the court at basketball games. We'll bring you that conversation. It's an interesting one. Good morning. I'm Savannah Sellers. I hope you had a great weekend. Joe is off today. We begin this morning with a big shakeup in the race for the White House. Ronna McDaniel has announced she will step down next month as chairwoman of the Republican National Committee. The news comes less than 2 weeks after former President Trump endorsed new leaders to direct the party going forward. Now, despite the change, the former president continues to dominate in his primary battle against former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Trump won the South Carolina Republican primary on Saturday night. The race now shifts to Michigan for the GOP primary set for tomorrow. The win in South Carolina widened Trump's lead when it comes to delegates as he looks to win the Republican nomination for a third straight time. Haley says she's looking forward to next week when several states will take part in Super Tuesday.
I said earlier this week that no matter what happens in South Carolina, I would continue to run for president. In the next 10 days, another 21 states and territories will speak. They have the right to a real choice.
For the latest, we are joined by NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray and NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for being here. Mark, I'll start with you. And the news this morning of Ronna McDaniel stepping down as RNC chair. Talk to us about the implications of this announcement.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is just as another sign about how Donald Trump has strengthened his hold over the Republican Party and all of its organizations as he marches to become the party's likely presidential nominee after his victories in the early primary states. And Donald Trump has already endorsed Michael Whatley, the chair of the North Carolina Republican Party, to be the RNC's next chair. It also comes as the RNC has struggled to raise money versus the Democrats, and after the Republicans' losses in the 2018 midterms, the 2020 presidential election, and the 2022 midterm elections. Although, while many people in the Republican Party have pointed their fingers at Ronna McDaniel, others have actually blamed the former president, Donald Trump.
John, let's bring you in here and talk sort of about what we're seeing happen to Nikki Haley. So, of course, we mentioned how she did not do well in her home state of South Carolina. She's also losing some notable support, including financial support. Walk us through what we're seeing happen to her and how significant this is right now as she tries to hang on here.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you've seen is some of the big donors around her, the Koch network, the Americans for Prosperity, concluding what a lot of others who were not in love with Trump have concluded over time, which is that there's no marginal return in each dollar they put into Nikki Haley. And so they don't want to keep throwing good money after bad. And so when she looks at the outlook, she's going to have some money to compete in these states that are upcoming, but the truth is there's not a single state where she has on the map that she can identify that she's going to win. And if you can't come in first in any state, you're not going to win a nomination.
Mark, let's talk about the Democratic primary in Michigan. So it's also taking place tomorrow. And as we previously reported, Michigan Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib is urging Democrats to vote against President Biden and vote uncommitted in the primary. This was in response to the White House's handling of the war between Israel and Hamas. What should we know ahead of the Michigan vote? Walk us through what choices voters do have and what kind of an impact this is making that we're seeing from this Congresswoman.
Yeah, this is a protest against President Biden coming from progressives who are upset with the president's handling of the Israel-Hamas war. And of course, we have seen this in national surveys and also in some of the polling in Michigan, where President Biden ends up trailing Donald Trump in some hypothetical matchups, although the margin is within the margin of error in those contests. And Michigan, it's important to note, is an open primary. So you're going to see people participating in the Democratic primary, people participating in the Republican primary, regardless of party. That aspect of it being an open primary also is something that Nikki Haley sees as a benefit, despite her trailing Donald Trump in delegates and in many polls for some of the upcoming contests, that some of the independents and crossover Democrats might end up voting for her instead of participating in the Democratic primary.
John, before I let you go, I mean, so this is looking more and more like we are going to essentially have a rematch between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. There's something interesting yesterday from Meet the Press, where California Governor Gavin Newsom, he actually specifically called on Biden to debate Trump. But we know his campaign has been non-committal at this point to any general election debates. Any chance that you think that moves forward? What'd you make of those comments?
It's a great question, Savannah. I really want to know what was behind them, whether Gavin Newsom got a green light on that from the White House, or he's freelancing. It's Gavin Newsom writing checks with his mouth that Joe Biden would have to cash with his body and with his debate skills later on. So, look, I think the bottom line is that it is still completely unclear as to whether there are going to be presidential debates this year. Obviously, we've seen frustration from the Trump side about the Presidential Debate Commission that has long governed those. You've seen frustration from the Biden side about debates. Remember, they canceled one when they had the opportunity to do so during the last election cycle because Trump was not committal. So it would be fascinating. I think the American public deserves to see the two candidates debate, but at the same time, not clear that that's actually going to happen.
We shall see. John and Mark, thank you both very much for kicking us off on a Monday. Now let's head to the Middle East, where U.S. coalition forces launched more than a dozen airstrikes against Houthi rebels in Yemen over the weekend. The move is just the latest effort to try and stop the Iran-backed fighters from targeting ships in the crucial shipping lanes in and around the Red Sea. For more, we are joined by NBC News foreign correspondent Megan Fitzgerald. She is in London. Megan, good morning. So what can you tell us about this weekend's strikes and the areas that were targeted?
Good morning to you. What we know is that the U.S. and the U.K. launched fighter jets from the Red Sea, striking some 18 targets in Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen. So we're talking about underground facilities, weapons facilities, drones, air defense systems, things like radars, according to the U.S. And look, we are seeing these attacks because the Houthis aren't letting up. They just continue their attacks on shipping vessels in the Red Sea, despite the U.S. and U.K.'s joint efforts to stop them. We've seen a surge in Houthi attacks. Take last week, for instance, the Iran-backed militia fired a missile that set a cargo vessel on fire. And guys, I've been speaking with supply chain experts, and these attacks are having a significant impact. Experts say some 90% of merchant vessels have diverted to around the tip of Africa, creating delays in products and sending costs soaring. So the cost, of course, will then be passed on to the consumer for goods, guys.
Megan, as you mentioned, these attacks have been ongoing, both from the Houthis and then the response. This is the fourth joint mission to stop attacks on ships in and around the Red Sea, but it doesn't seem like that has done much. What has the response been? What are we hearing from U.S. officials? And is there hope that this time makes a difference?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, you know, you're absolutely right. I mean, this was the fourth joint operation that we've seen since January 12th. But keep in mind, the U.S. has also been carrying out almost daily strikes to take out Houthi targets. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said, and in fact, I want to read this for you, the United States will not hesitate to take action as needed to defend lives and the free flow of commerce in one of the world's most critical waterways. We will continue to make clear to the Houthis that they will bear the consequences hostages if they do not stop their illegal attacks. But, Savannah, as you mentioned, we're talking about four joint attacks with the U.S. and the U.K. since January, and so far, that has not seemed to stop the Houthis from launching counterattacks.
All right, Megan Fitzgerald, thank you very much. Well, this week, Qatar is set to host mediated talks between Israel and Hamas in Cairo. An Israeli official told NBC News that there was some progress on ceasefire negotiations, but Hamas says Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, quote, aborts all attempts to make progress in negotiations. NBC News foreign correspondent Raf Sanchez is in Tel Aviv with the latest.
An Israeli official tells NBC News there was progress in talks over the weekend in Paris involving the CIA director, but there is still a long way to go towards a deal. Negotiations right now focused on a proposal that would pause the fighting in Gaza for several weeks, get more humanitarian aid into Palestinian civilians, and lead to the release of Israeli hostages, beginning with women. But Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is saying deal or no deal, he will push ahead with an attack on the city of Rafah in southern Gaza. He says Israel's military has drawn up a plan to move more than 1 million civilians out of the city before an attack begins. But humanitarian groups are saying there is simply nowhere safe in Gaza for them to run to. Meanwhile, in Yemen, the U.S. and the U.K. carrying out another wave of strikes against Iranian-backed Houthi militants, hitting 18 targets. That's according to U.S. Central Command. But there is no sign at this point that these strikes are deterring the Houthis from their continuing attacks on commercial ships in the Red Sea. Raf Sanchez, NBC News.
This weekend marked 2 years since the war in Ukraine began. Since the start of the Russian invasion, President Zelensky said 31,000 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed. Speaking with NBC's Richard Engel, the Ukrainian president said his troops are running out of supplies and urged Congress to approve more military aid. Here's that interview.
As Ukraine commemorates 2 years since Vladimir Putin invaded, President Zelensky told reporters delays of weapons and ammunition from allies, including the United States, are costing Ukrainian lives, saying 31,000 of his troops have been killed so far in the war, his first update of the death toll in a year. President Zelensky said Russian troops are taking advantage of Ukraine's lack of supplies with a new offensive, which he expects will intensify over the next 2 months. I met up with the president.
Hi, good to see you again. Thank you very much.
In our 5th conversation since the war began. The president began by saying Ukraine has no choice but to keep fighting because the cost of losing to President Putin is everything.
If he will break defending lines, he will destroy all the cities. He doesn't need anything, any Ukrainian culture. He will destroy it. Architecture, museums, schools, universities, people.
Mr. President, I just returned from several areas along the front line in the south and in the east, and soldiers there told me they have to ration their ammunition. What happens to your country if this American aid doesn't arrive?
We will lose a lot of people. We will lose territories. If to give us strong package in one time, our steps will be more strong on the battlefield.
Do you think the United States wants Ukraine to win this war? Or do they just want you to weaken Russia and contain Russia?
I hope so. I hope so. Otherwise, how to trust people? It's so difficult to live without any trust. So we count on our partners.
You said that you believe this year is a turning point year for Ukraine because of, in part, U.S. elections. You pointed specifically to the U.S. elections. Are you talking about Donald Trump? Are you worried that Donald Trump could pull the plug?
I hope he will not stop. If he will be the president, that is the decision of your people, of course. And I hope that the policy of the country will not change. I count on the American people.
President Zelensky also outlined a peace plan to end the war, with Ukraine presenting its terms to Russia this spring, followed by direct talks. The Kremlin has already rejected the proposal. Richard Engel, NBC News, Kyiv.
Our thanks to Richard for that report. Well, back here, it is a battle of the seasons today. The East Coast and Southern Plains are expecting above average temperatures, but the West is in for some heavy snow. Let's get a check on your morning news now weather with Michelle Grossman, who's with us today. Hey, Michelle, good morning.
Hey there, Savannah. Great to see you. Yeah, we're going to see temperatures 30, even 45 degrees above what is typical for this time of year. So very spring-like in the northern plains, the central plains, from the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, portions of the east. But the southern plains, we're going to get into the 90s in some spots. So feeling like summer in February. You mentioned that snow in the west, or the winter weather in the west. We're looking at the chance for heavy snow. We had snow all over the weekend. We're going to see that once again today into the Intermountain West. It'll be very windy, too, with winds gusting up to 60, even 70 miles per hour. So let's get into it because there's a lot going on over the next few days. First, the warmth. We're looking at February records being broken likely in many, many areas, possible in 25 states. Wherever you see these red dots, that's where we're anticipating some record-breaking temperatures over the next several days. That includes over 100 records. So we're going to continue to watch that not only today, but tomorrow, also Wednesday. And then we're also looking at the chance for temperatures soaring well above what is average for this time of year. So take a look at some of these numbers. Dallas today, 93 degrees. That is the expected high. In February, 90 degrees is the record there. Temperatures into the 80s in El Paso, also Amarillo. We're looking at 70s in Kansas City, pretty close to the 80-degree mark there. And pretty close to 70 degrees in Chicago. 69 is the forecasted high. The record there is 64, Minneapolis 64, and Bismarck looking at a chance of getting to the low 60s. We're going to keep the warmth in place in some spots tomorrow. And then we have a huge dip as we go towards Wednesday, even a 40-degree tumble as we go into Wednesday. But first, on Tuesday, we're looking at temperatures into the 90s in San Angelo. The record there is 92. 80s in Pine Bluff, Baton Rouge, Oklahoma City. 70s, near 80 degrees on Tuesday in Nashville. The record there is 78 degrees. I think we will make it to 78. And 60s in Detroit, also in Syracuse. But look at this tumble as we go towards Wednesday. This is a cold front that's going to bring the chance for severe storms tomorrow. And it's going to really clear out the warm air. So we're looking at a big difference as we get towards Thursday. But still Wednesday, we are warm in D.C., 70 degrees, a 20-degree difference on Thursday, 50 degrees, 76 in Raleigh on Wednesday, just 58 on Thursday. So you get the idea. We'll see these temperatures go up, but they're going to tumble pretty quickly as we go over the next several days. Out west, we are looking at some really heavy snow from the Cascades to the Rockies. Feet of snow in many spots, especially in the highest elevations. We're looking at damaging winds from Montana and New Mexico. And when I say damaging, we're looking at winds gusting up to 70 miles per hour in some spots. So we're looking at the chance of snow squalls, blizzard-like conditions, snow falling at 1 inch, 2 inches per hour. That's going to create some whiteout conditions, combining that wind in there. So really treacherous travel in portions of the northern Rockies today into tomorrow, and really throughout the Intermountain West, where you see that blue. That's where we're expecting that snow. Here's that cold front. Watch as it moves across to the east. That's what's going to clear out those warmer temperatures. But before that, we're looking at really warm air ahead of that cold front. So we're looking at the chance for severe storms as that cold air clashes with that warm air in portions of the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, the Midwest. And we're talking severe storms, tornadoes, really large hail, gusty winds, heavy downpours. But behind this, we're looking at heavy snow for the upper Midwest. So we're looking at cold air behind that cold front that comes through on Wednesday for much of the East Coast. Rain and strong winds for much of the East Coast. So we're still mild on Wednesday with that heavy rain falling, but we're going to see those temperatures really tumble behind it. We could see some snow showers behind that cold front. We're looking at 5 million people impacted by winter alerts. Where you see the pink, that's your winter storm warning. Winter storm advisories are near white. So again, feet of snow in many spots. Fargo, you are under a winter storm watch. Winds will be very, very gusty. It's going to be for really tricky travels we had throughout the Intermountain West, portions of New Mexico as well. 8 million people impacted. We have high wind warnings. That is in the purple there, and there's that severe threat. I do want to give a heads up, Savannah, with this because this is late tomorrow into Wednesday, and we could see some pretty gusty storms. 25 million people at risk for severe weather Tuesday into Wednesday. Back to you.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much. Much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, fertility fallout, new concerns about the future of IVF treatments following that controversial court ruling in Alabama. Why some fear the decision could be felt far beyond state lines. But first, after the break, a murder investigation at a college campus intensifying the debate on illegal immigration. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We are back with new details about the man suspected of killing 22-year-old University of Georgia student Laken Hope Riley. New records show the suspect, Jose Antonio Ibarra, may have already had a criminal record while in the U.S. Police also say Ibarra was in the country illegally, sparking outrage among some Republican lawmakers. They say the Biden administration is partially responsible for this attack. This all comes as University of Georgia students continue to mourn the loss of Riley. A campus vigil is being held later today as the family prepares for her funeral. NBC News Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley joins us now with the latest on this. Julia, good morning. So what new details are we learning about the suspect and his record at this point?
Well, just over the weekend, Savannah, we learned that Ibarra had been arrested by the NYPD in New York just of September of last year for acting in a manner that would injure a child under 17. It's not clear what the details of that actually was, and for a motor vehicles violation. He was arrested, but because New York is a sanctuary city and doesn't tell the feds, meaning ICE in this case, when they're going to release an undocumented immigrant, they did not tell ICE, so they couldn't make what they would call a detainer request to hold them until ICE could come pick him up to have him removed. This is a controversy we've seen play out time and time again, where someone has served their sentence, but ICE wants to be able to come in and remove people who have been charged with crimes so that they can be top of the list for deportation. And in this case, Ibarra was released without ICE knowing it, and he went on to commit this crime, allegedly.
So we're hearing from Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, who's partly blaming this crime on President Biden's border policies. Tell us more about this and what we're hearing are other lawmakers in Congress, as some of them agree with some of Kemp's criticism.
Yes, it's no surprise that we would start to see a lot of this unfortunate death become played out in politics, especially because immigration is such a hot button issue going into the 2024 presidential campaign. Kemp was first among them to say that this man should not have been in the United States, and it's because of the border policies. We do have to point out, though, that these same policies of releasing someone pending a court trial and of these cities not cooperating with feds go back at least through the last 3 administrations. But it is true he's Venezuelan, and under the Biden administration, the number of Venezuelans has skyrocketed. They're now usually the top 1 or 2 nationalities crossing the border every month. That, of course, has a lot to do with what's going on in Venezuela. A lot of people fleeing that country. And most recently, Venezuela stopped allowing the U.S. and Mexico to deport their nationals back to Venezuela. That was something they just agreed to last fall. They've closed the door again, intensifying this whole conversation.
What does this tell us about some of the larger frustrations over Biden's immigration policies?
Well, it comes down to numbers. We know that studies have shown that undocumented immigrants per person commit fewer crimes than American citizens. We've had studies come out time and time again to show that. But now we have so many more undocumented migrants in this country. The last 2 years have been record setters, one topping the last. A lot of that has to do with the conditions in Central America, South America, like we said, Venezuela. The number of countries of people coming here has just been added to the list. We see a lot more Chinese people now, people from Africa, all over the world. There are global migration patterns. But because there are so many more undocumented migrants here, we may start to see more crimes. There was another crime that was largely reported on from 4 Venezuelan migrants attacking police in New York City just last month. These are all things that are starting to get a lot more attention as this policy becomes, as immigration policies under the Biden administration become more and more scrutinized.
All right, Julia Ainsley, thank you so much. Let's get you international news now. A former Brazilian leader led thousands of supporters in a rally despite mounting coup allegations. NBC News international correspondent Claudio Lubanga has that in other world news. Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. Well, that's right. On Sunday, thousands of Bolsonaro supporters gathered in Sao Paulo, Brazil's biggest city, after the former president of Brazil called for a rally protest on social media. Well, now calling it a, quote, defense of democratic rule of law, supporters flooded the main street wearing green and gold. Bolsonaro joined the crowd despite mounting legal challenges. As you mentioned, earlier this month, Bolsonaro's lawyers confirmed that he's facing a Brazilian federal police investigation into an alleged coup plot to stay in power after losing the 2022 election. he denies these claims. Let's travel over to Afghanistan now, where an 84-year-old Austrian man was just released by the Taliban. Officials say Herbert Fritz was arrested last year shortly after publishing an article titled "Vacation with the Taliban" in a far-right magazine. Fritz was accused of spying and held in prison in Kabul. An Austrian paper reported that Fritz is known for traveling to dangerous locations. A spokesman for the Austrian Foreign Ministry says Fritz is now free. He arrived in Qatar from Afghanistan on Sunday afternoon, and if necessary, he will receive medical treatment before going back home to Austria. And we end this short tour of the world in Ireland. Now, Savannah, I know you love Christmas, so I'm sure that you've decorated trees, but have you ever tried throwing one? Well, an Irish woman did. Well, in fact, she chucked her Christmas tree so well that she lost out on about $823,000 in injury claims. How? Well, Kamila Grabska was suing an insurance company claiming her car accident injuries left her, quote, in disabling condition. She said she was unable to work or play with her children, but the court found pictures of Grabska throwing a 5-foot-tall spruce at a charity event. Now, the picture you're looking at now is not her, but it gives you a good idea of what the competition looks like. And get this, Grabska actually won the competition, but after the judge saw her picture published in a national newspaper, well, of course, they dismissed the case.
Wow.
Back to you, Savannah.
Interesting. All right, Claudia, thank you so much. Well, tomorrow marks 10 years since President Obama launched his My Brother's Keeper initiative in response to the death of Trayvon Martin. The program serves as an outreach to young minority men and boys to help create more pathways to success for the group that is historically marginalized. NBC News correspondent Tremaine Lee takes a look at the impact it's still making in one New Jersey community.
This week marks the anniversary of one of President Barack Obama's signature efforts, My Brother's Keeper, aimed at bolstering the lives of young men and boys of color. And this anniversary comes on the heels of another important date in American race relations, the killing of Trayvon Martin. With these two anniversaries inextricably linked, we decided to go to one of My Brother's Keeper's model communities, Newark, New Jersey, to see how 10 years later, the program continues to shape the lives of young men and teach them to save themselves. For some young men of color in Newark, New Jersey, it can often feel as if the world has put a target on their backs.
Mental health, drugs, sometimes lack of resources from teacher and staff.
But here, these teens know there's a group of brothers who've got their backs.
How you feeling? How was your day? We don't get asked them questions, except when we come to spaces like this. The teachers and the staff here, everybody take care of you.
They're students at LEAD, a charter school for people 16 to 21 who struggled in regular public school. At LEAD, administrators say students get mentoring, role models who look like them, and one-on-one attention.
I'm not a product of my environment.
These students are in a program called Men of Excellence, part of a community network helping to empower young men like Joshua and Abraham to see in themselves what society may not. That network is the My Brother's Keeper Alliance, the initiative for black and brown boys started by then-President Barack Obama in 2014. It was the president's response to Trayvon Martin's senseless death.
You know, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon.
My Brother's Keeper, funded through public and private partnerships, provides mentorship, education, and job training.
We don't save young people, right? Young people save themselves. We are but facilitators of them in that journey.
In places like Newark, we're seeing concrete reductions in homicides.
Newark Mayor Ross Baraka credits the partnership with MBK and other community-based programs for an historic drop in homicides to a 60-year low in just over a decade.
But then when that work began to kind of integrate itself with the policing of the city and the everyday functions of the city, then you saw dramatic changes.
Reduction of homicides represents young men that are living today, that will be fully present, right? I'm trying not to get emotional, but will be fully present in their families, in their communities, and in our democracy.
In the decade since it began, MBK has reached thousands of young men with positive results in what the organization calls model communities, like Newark and Yonkers, where MBK is credited with helping to elevate the highest graduation rate for young men of color in the state.
we are very explicit about the fact that there is nothing wrong with our young men in our city. There are problems, but they are not the problem. They are actually our greatest resource.
Last year, Abraham was in court-ordered detention. Now, he's the president of Men of Excellence. Joshua, like countless other students across the country, fell through the administrative cracks and hadn't attended school since the pandemic.
It made me think of the future of me becoming something I wanted to be. My mindset used to be how I'm gonna survive, but now my mindset is how good of a life I'm gonna live.
Newark is just one of dozens of cities all across this country that have My Brother's Keepers programs. And 10 years in, leaders say the data is promising that their efforts to make sure young people have access to opportunities and mentorship and job skills is actually beginning to pay off.
All right, Tremaine, thank you so much. Coming up, controversy on the basketball court, why some are calling for an end to the beloved college hoops tradition of storming the court, like you're seeing on your screen right now. Stay with us. You're watching Morning News Now. Joining us now with more on this is Dr. Guilf Freed. He's a professor at the University of West Florida and a specialist in sports law and facility management. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us, Doctor. So, I mean, this is nothing new, right? This court storming in college sports, but what is it that's happening lately? Why it's getting so much attention?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I think the reason why it's gaining popularity is the fact that we are now in a selfie type of environment, and that is what happened in the Caitlin Clark incident. Is a person was taking a picture of themselves and streaming themselves and trying to make sure they had a viral moment, and they weren't looking at what they were doing. And so I think that is one of the efforts that people want to be part of the news and be part of the celebration. And that is unfortunately leading to issues like this, where they're not looking at where they're going and they're not paying attention to protect other people.
So I know if people are thinking, okay, well, what can be done about this? How could we stop it? It's like, maybe is there something physical, some type of barricades or security between fans and the court? But I know recently you've said that might not be the best idea. Why is that?
If you have people trying to storm a court or a field and you have any type of barrier there, it could actually cause a pinch point, and you could possibly have issues where you could have suffocation, similar to what you've seen sometimes at rock concerts or other areas where you might have a barrier that is in an inappropriate location. I think there's much better strategies, including developing policies and procedures for students, indicating that if they storm the field, that they could face consequences such as fines, expulsion, whatever it might be. And that is what they need to try to implement in order to make sure that the fans don't get into harm's way or cause trouble to other people.
Yeah, when it comes to this concept of fines, like just a recent example of that actually in the Southeastern Conference, they levied a $100,000 fine against South Carolina after fans had rushed the court. Do you think schools are responsible? Should it be up to the institutions to be fined in that way, to be telling their students not to do such a thing? Or do you think individuals, the students themselves, should be held accountable? And if so, how?
I don't think it should be the institutions, because the SEC has had a fine structure in place for years, and it really hasn't stopped any court rushing or field rushing incidents. And while it's a graduated fine that can go up from $100,000 to $250,000 to $500,000, they get fundraisers to give them money to help pay for it. So it really doesn't stop the behavior. You have to stop it with the individuals, and part of that is to develop policies and procedures within a student code of conduct or university disciplinary system that says, look, this is not what we do at our institution, and if you engage in this, we're going to punish you. And it has to be followed up with actual punishments. And then I think fans will get the gist of it. We don't see this at the professional level, and because they have an environment of that. If you create the same kind of environment at the college level, it might prevent some of these incidents from happening in the future.
Dr. Freed, really interesting conversation, one that, of course, I think we're going to keep having as we're seeing this more. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, this morning, IVF treatments at Alabama's largest hospital and other clinics in the state remain suspended after the Alabama Supreme Court's controversial embryo ruling last week. The revolutionary medical breakthrough has brought the gift of children to millions of parents who otherwise could not have them. Now, though, there are concerns after the ruling over the legal implications that doctors and patients could face. So what does the future hold for IVF services in Alabama and also in other states? Here's NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson with more.
Rachel and Alex Jackson live in Birmingham, Alabama, and desperately want to have a baby.
My husband and I have been trying to start our family for about 5 years now.
The Jacksons were set to begin IVF treatment in March.
When you got that date, March 25th, what was that moment like for you?
We were so excited. IVF is one of those things that it has such a high success rate that you really just feel like that's your answer, that's your miracle.
That date now on hold after the Alabama Supreme Court ruled frozen human embryos are considered children, meaning discarding those embryos could lead to legal or civil consequences. The University of Alabama, where the Jacksons were seeking treatment, suspending all IVF services in response.
We were just heartbroken to have your entire, not plan A or plan B, this is probably everyone's last resort, and then to have that taken away from you, it's literally impossible at that point.
Around 2% of babies in the U.S., more than 80,000, are born each year using assisted reproductive technology, usually IVF.
Louise Joy Brown, the world's first test tube baby.
Since the first so-called test tube baby, Louise Brown, was born in England in 1978, more than 8 million babies worldwide have been conceived that way.
Leslie and John Brown now have the child they wanted.
IVF involves the extraction of a woman's eggs, which are then fertilized with sperm from a partner or donor and grown in a lab. The resulting embryo is then implanted into a mother's uterus. The treatment is done in cycles and can take several attempts. Unused embryos are frozen for later use or discarded.
If we know that they're never going to use this embryo because it wouldn't implant or it could result in a miscarriage or a very unhealthy child, that's an embryo that is discarded. At best, we know it's maybe a half of them that will implant or 2/3.
The fate of those stored or discarded embryos at the heart of the Alabama ruling. The court's Chief Justice invoking his Christian faith in his opinion, writing, "Human life cannot be wrongfully destroyed without incurring the wrath of a holy God." Experts say if the ruling were to stand, it would be a disaster for couples trying to conceive.
Infertility is a disease, and just like cancer is a disease and everyone deserves access to timely treatment, the same goes for fertility.
Rachel and Alex now in limbo, hoping the law won't get in the way of having a family.
We've been together for over 10 years now. We were high school sweethearts, so literally for half of our lives at this point, we've been talking about having children. I mean, a lot if this could be overturned.
And you believe you'll still have a chance to do that?
I think so. I think so for sure.
Our thanks to Priscilla Thompson for that report. Well, coming up, the stage is set for a social media showdown at the Supreme Court. We'll break down two cases from two different states raising questions about censorship online. This is Morning News Now. Welcome back. The Supreme Court is set to hear arguments over two Republican-backed laws out of Texas and Florida that center around social media censorship. The Texas law bans social media companies from removing posts or accounts based on the user's views on issues. The Florida law is similar. It seeks to prevent social media companies from suspending the accounts of political candidates or media publications for posting contentious rhetoric. Tech companies like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube say that both laws infringe upon the free speech rights of companies. It comes at a time when the influence of social media companies is being hotly debated, and it could have major implications for the type of content we see on social media platforms in the future. NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian is with us this morning with more here. Ken, good morning. So explain how these cases got all the way to the Supreme Court and exactly what is being argued here.
Yeah, well, Savannah, first of all, experts are saying this is a case that could reshape the internet as we know it. It's the most important First Amendment case involving social media companies ever. And it got here in part because the circuit courts, the appeals courts in these two states have disagreed. In Texas, they upheld the law. In Florida, they knocked it out. And at issue really is the question of, does the First Amendment protect these companies, Facebook, TikTok, Discord, other platforms, YouTube, from curating content. Are they like newspapers that can publish anything they want and make editorial decisions? Or are they like the old phone company, common carriers, required by law to carry everybody's message, whether they like it or not? And the implications are profound, because what we're talking about here is, does Facebook have the right to ban, for example, Nazi propaganda, which it does right now? It has terms of service. The internet without these kinds of curations by social media companies could be a very dark and disturbing place, Savannah.
So, Ken, according to Florida's Attorney General, that state law is aimed at preventing social media platforms from abusing their power over the public square. That's a direct quote. What factors will the justices have to weigh before making their ruling?
And we should be clear that that Florida law pretty clearly stemmed from Facebook Meta's decision to ban Donald Trump from the platform over extremist content that he was putting out, and Twitter as well. And so, look, the justices are going to have to call on their precedents, but they've already made clear that there really is no precedent for this in First Amendment law, because we're in a new world. We've never seen anything like the social media platforms before. And it's interesting because, you know, newspapers are subject to libel suits for content that they publish. Social media companies are not. They're exempted by what's known as Section 130 from these kinds of lawsuits. So they have this kind of get-out-of-jail-free card, and it's something that conservatives argue, if you've got that, then you've got to publish everything.
So, Ken, no surprise, this sort of breaks down along political lines, as many things do, but in terms of where the kind of opinions are here about too much versus not enough. Republicans have argued there's too much content moderation on social media. Democrats often say there is not enough. How could the Supreme Court's ruling potentially impact social media regulation and the content we then see on social media platforms in the future? And, you know, of course, I'm thinking this is all the backdrop of an election year.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, for example, if social media companies can't regulate and curate, foreign election interference campaigns could go on unabated on those platforms. Right now, they make a concerted effort to look for inauthentic accounts and take them down. Conservatives are worried about the regulation of content that people at Facebook and YouTube think is outrageous and extremist, but conservatives think is just fine. But it goes way beyond that. The implications are huge about what kind of internet we're going to have and what kind of content is going to be on social media, what types of extremism and calls for violence and pornography are going to be allowed. So this is a big one for the Supreme Court.
Absolutely. All right, Ken, thank you so much. Well, let's get you some money news now, starting with a look ahead to some pretty important economic data that comes out this week. CNBC's Silvana Henao has that and other money news for you this morning. Silvana, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, good morning to you. Yeah, so the markets are coming off a winning week, largely powered by big gains from AI chip maker NVIDIA. Now, investors are now looking ahead to a key report on inflation this week. It's the PCE, or Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, which is out on Thursday. Now, this is the Federal Reserve's favorite measure of inflation, and it will be closely watched following some hotter reads recently on consumer and producer prices. That's pushing up expectations. Core PCE, which strips out food and energy prices, could have risen as much as 0.5% in January. AT&T CEO is apologizing for the nationwide network outage that affected thousands of wireless customers last week. The company says those subscribers will see a $5 credit on one of their next 2 billing cycles. AT&T says Thursday's outage was caused by a software update and not a cyber attack. The company is still working on compensation for prepaid and enterprise customers. And Buffalo Wild Wings is giving out free wings to everyone today as it makes good on its Super Bowl promise. The chain said customers could get 6 boneless or traditional wings if the game went into overtime. You can redeem the offer at any location from 2 to 5 p.m. local time, and it's only for dine-in and in-person takeout. Ugh, I love some wings, but 6 is not enough.
I know, and there we go. We got to talk about it this early, right? All right, Silvana, thanks so much.
You got it.
Coming up, another big night for one of last year's biggest films. Oppenheimer dominated the SAG Awards this past weekend. We'll take you to the red carpet. Plus, it's bizarre, bold, and honestly kind of brilliant. We'll bring you highlights from the first ever Florida Man Games. You're watching Morning News Now. Welcome back. I'm sure you've heard about Florida Man, or at least you've seen some of the memes online. Well, over the weekend, a contest brought flashy Floridians together for the first ever Florida Man Games. The event, billed as the most insane athletic showdown on earth, set out to make light of some of the bizarre stories that have come out of the Sunshine State. Fans lined up to watch such unique competitions as the evading arrest obstacle course, where athletes jumped over fences and through backyards to escape the police, and the Category 5 cash grab, where the challenge was to withstand Category 5 wins and scramble to grab as much money as they could. There you go. We really needed to bring that to you this morning. Well, it was another big weekend for Oppenheimer as the film took home more trophies at the SAG Awards on Saturday night. NBC News correspondent Priya Sridhar has the highlights, along with a list of the night's other big winners.
It was all glitz and glam at the annual SAG-AFTRA Awards show.
Don't say anything you wouldn't say in front of Oprah, okay? That was Oprah.
With everyone from Margot Robbie to Ali Wong stunning the cameras, and epic reunions of some of Hollywood's biggest hits from the cast of Breaking Bad, Modern Family, Lord of the Rings, and The Devil Wears Prada. On the small screen, The Bear and Beef snagging the most trophies, with Beef dominating in the Best Actor and Actress categories, and The Bear taking home the top spots for lead roles in a comedy series. Oppenheimer was the big winner of the film side, winning 3 of the 5 movie categories, while Lily Gladstone took home another win for her performance in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Keep speaking your truths and keep speaking up for each other.
Davine Joy Randolph also adding an actor statue to her Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress in The Holdovers.
Your life can change in a day.
This year, Barbara Streisand was honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award, recognizing her work as a trailblazer, especially for women in the industry.
I wanted to be in the movies, even though I knew I didn't look like the other women on the screen.
The night also included several mentions of SAG-AFTRA's historic months-long strike that halted production across Hollywood, costing thousands of jobs and billions of dollars in revenue.
Your collective dignity and perseverance to stand up and say, we deserve better because we are better.
Our thanks to Priya Sridhar for that report. Last year, every actor who won a SAG award went on to win an Oscar. So that could mean good news for Lily Gladstone and the cast from Oppenheimer. We'll see. That's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now. Stay with me, though. The news continues right now. Good Monday morning. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Savannah Sellers. Joe has the morning off. Right now on Morning News Now, not backing down after a double-digit primary defeat in her home state of South Carolina. Former Governor Nikki Haley is digging in this morning, vowing to stay in the race for the White House in the face of a seemingly unstoppable former President Trump.
I said earlier this week that no matter what happens in South Carolina, I would continue to run for president.
We've got the latest analysis as both Haley and Trump look forward to Michigan's turn in the primary spotlight tomorrow. Plus, a leadership shakeup at the RNC that could prove good news for the Trump campaign. Also, 2 years and counting, the war in Ukraine pressing on this morning as Russian troops advance westward in the battered nation's southeast. We'll bring you our Richard Engel's conversation with Ukraine's President Zelensky on the weapons lapse that he says could cost more Ukrainian lives. Also this morning, more Americans than ever are turning 65 this year, and that means retirement is on the minds of a lot of people. If you're one of them, we've got some advice on how you can better prepare for your golden years. And it's shaping up to be an astronomical event for the ages. Later in the hour, the nationwide travel boom over that upcoming solar eclipse that is now just weeks away. We're going to get started this hour with a change of guard for Republican leadership. Ronna McDaniel has announced she will step down next month as chair of the Republican National Committee. It was just earlier this month when former President Trump endorsed new leaders to direct the party going forward, including his daughter-in-law as co-chair. This announcement comes after Trump easily defeated former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley in the South Carolina Republican primary over the weekend. NBC's Garrett Hake has the latest on the state of the race.
The former president won a decisive victory in South Carolina, dominating Nikki Haley in nearly every key voting block, according to NBC's exit polls. Now, Mr. Trump is trying to pivot to the general election, but Haley is hanging on, insisting Trump is unelectable in November.
This morning, former President Trump one step closer to securing the Republican nomination, following his double-digit victory in South Carolina.
Wow, that is really something. This was a little sooner than we anticipated.
The former president defeated his one-time UN ambassador Nikki Haley in her home state, never mentioning Haley by name in his victory speech. Instead, focusing on his potential rematch with President Biden.
We're going to look at Joe Biden, and we're going to look him right in the eye. He's destroying our country, and we're going to say, Joe, you're fired.
Haley, campaigning in Michigan ahead of tomorrow's primary, is vowing to fight on. Her campaign claiming it raised $1 million since polls closed in South Carolina.
Don't complain about what happens in a general election if you don't vote in this primary.
On Saturday, explaining why she's staying in the race for the long haul.
I'm not giving up this fight when a majority of Americans disapprove of both Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
While the Trump campaign attempts to shift its attention to November, Mr. Trump is facing a fierce backlash over his remarks to a group of black conservatives last Friday, saying his 4 criminal cases appeal to black voters.
And then I got indicted a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time. And a lot of people said that that's why the black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against.
Later, invoking his mugshot, taken after his arrest in Georgia.
You know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. It's incredible. You see black people walking around with my mugshot. You know, they do shirts, and they sell them for $19 a piece.
Haley says the former president's remarks are more evidence he cannot win a general election.
It's disgusting. That's the chaos that comes with Donald Trump. That's the offensiveness that's going to happen every day between now and the general election.
And just this morning, Donald Trump's consolidation of control over the Republican Party continues. The RNC chairwoman, Ronna McDaniel, announcing she's resigning effective next week. That's when the party is expected to install a new slate of leaders handpicked by Mr. Trump, including his daughter-in-law as the party's co-chair.
All right, Garrett, thank you. Meanwhile, the race for the White House heads to Michigan tomorrow, where both the Republican and Democratic primaries will take place. Next week also is Super Tuesday, where voters in 16 states will head to the polls. Meet the Press moderator. Kristen Welker has more on the presidential campaigns.
Hi, Savannah. Good morning to you. Well, a defiant Nikki Haley insists she is staying in this race. She believes she still has a path. The reality check there, her path is narrow at best. Her campaign says, look, there are a series of open and semi-open primaries coming up, including in Michigan on Tuesday. That's where Democrats and independents can vote. And on Super Tuesday, by the way, 11 of the 16 states are either open or semi-open primaries. But in reality, she needs to start getting Republican votes in order to win a Republican primary. And even if she were to win one or a few of these states, it's not clear that she would be able to catch up to Donald Trump's delegate lead. We learned in South Carolina, 77% of voters there said that they made up their minds about who they were going to vote for back in January. That effectively means that this is not a pliable electorate, a convincible electorate that she is dealing with. So if she doesn't have a strong showing on Super Tuesday, I think you're going to start to see the pressure really ramp up on her to reevaluate her campaign. Meanwhile, over in Trump world, we've been talking to aides and allies of the former president who say in the wake of South Carolina, They want him to start focusing more on a general election message, less on his personal grievances, more on the issues, more on how he's going to defeat Joe Biden. Now, of course, he's always been an unconventional candidate. Is he going to listen to that advice? That is anyone's guess, but that is the advice that he is getting as he continues his march toward the nomination. So again, the next big contest comes up tomorrow in Michigan, where Nikki Haley is fighting for a strong showing so that she can justify staying in this race. Savannah.
All right, Kristen, thank you so much. Well, the war in Ukraine passed the 2-year mark over the weekend as Kyiv urges the United States Congress to approve another package of military aid. NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel sat down with Ukraine's President Zelensky to discuss the state of the conflict.
Ukraine's President Zelensky said that delays of American weapons and ammunition are costing Ukrainian lives, that 31,000 Ukrainian troops have already died so far in this war, killed by Russian forces, and that Russia is taking advantage of those delays right now to go on the offensive, an offensive the president expects will only intensify over the next 2 months. I sat down with President Zelensky here in Kyiv. It was our 5th conversation since the war began.
Hi, good to see you again.
Thank you very much. I'm well.
Thank you. I just returned from several areas along the front line in the south and in the east, and soldiers there told me they have to ration their ammunition. What happens to your country if this American aid doesn't arrive?
We will lose a lot of people. We will lose territories.
Do you think the United States wants Ukraine to win this war? Or do they just want you to weaken Russia and contain Russia?
I hope so. We count on our partners. And I hope that it's not only words.
In Washington, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan on Meet the Press.
Of course Ukraine can win, but it can only do so if it has the tools that it needs. And that is why the United States needs to deliver the aid package. The House needs to step up and pass that bill.
President Zelensky warning against appeasing President Putin.
If the world will not stop him, he will do it till 2030.
So you're assuming that he's going to win this upcoming election and give him another presidential term until 2030?
Yes, of course. He already won.
President Putin's main rival, Alexei Navalny, died suddenly in prison. His mother finally given his body after earlier saying authorities pressured her into having a secret funeral. Navalny's aides haven't discussed burial plans, expressing concerns Moscow may try to disrupt them.
You said that you believe this year is a turning point year for Ukraine because of, in part, U.S. elections. Are you talking about Donald Trump? Are you worried that Donald Trump could pull the plug?
If he will be the president, that is the decision of your people, of course. And I hope that the policy of the country will not change. I count on the American people. Mostly they are on our side.
And former U.S. officials and cyber experts say that President Vladimir Putin is at it again, trying to influence the U.S. elections using bots and fake accounts to try and disparage President Biden and weaken support for Ukraine and NATO.
All right, Richard, thank you so much. Well, this morning there are positive signs on a potential ceasefire deal in the Middle East. This week, negotiators are set to continue discussing the release of more hostages held by Hamas in exchange for a pause in Israel's fighting in Gaza. But that progress is already meeting some headwinds. For more, we are joined by NBC News foreign correspondent Megan Fitzgerald. She's in London. Megan, good morning. So what is the latest on these negotiations?
Oh, good morning to you. Look, as is typically the case here, officials aren't being forthcoming with details about negotiations, but Reuters is sourcing Egyptian officials who say Qatar will host mediated talks between Hamas and Israel. The focus is to try and finalize an agreement on a ceasefire this week. The talks are also focused on a hostage release as well as before the start of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, which starts on March 10th. Now, this comes, of course, after Israel's head of intelligence services cases met with Qatari, Egyptian, and U.S. officials Friday in Paris. An Israeli official tells NBC News there was progress in Paris, but that it's too early to tell if it will lead to a breakthrough. And then, of course, on Face the Nation yesterday morning, Netanyahu didn't get into specifics, but he said it wasn't clear if a hostage deal would materialize, but that Hamas needed to come down to a reasonable situation, and if so, he hopes that they'll have a hostage deal. Savannah?
Megan, these ceasefire talks are playing out at the same time that Israel has this potential ground assault on Rafah on the horizon. There are more than 1 million civilians who are seeking shelter in that city. What more can you tell us about this planned attack and what the White House has said about Israel's plan?
Well, look, Netanyahu has said that the IDF's ground offensive in Rafah is happening regardless of a potential ceasefire deal. Again, speaking on Face the Nation on Sunday, he said if there's a truce deal, the offensive would be delayed somewhat, but that it will happen. In fact, he said over the weekend that he'll convene his war cabinet early this week to approve operation plans in Rafah, including the evacuation of civilians. But that's the key piece of this. You've got more than 1 million people who are sheltering in Rafah right now. President Biden has demanded that Israel not conduct this operation without a plan to protect civilians. That's something that the White House says they've not seen yet. Take a listen.
We have been very clear about our view here. We're talking about more than 1 million people who have been pushed into this small space in Gaza because of military operations elsewhere. It's also the area where all of the humanitarian assistance comes into Gaza to serve all of Gaza. And so we've been clear that we do not believe that an operation, a major military operation, should proceed in Rafah unless there is a clear and executable plan to protect those civilians, to get them to safety, and to feed, clothe, and house them. And we have not seen a plan like that.
Right, so that plan is something that we will be monitoring very closely, Savannah.
Absolutely. All right, Megan Fitzgerald, thank you so much. Out of Alabama, where local lawmakers are scrambling to introduce legislation to help families being impacted by the state Supreme Court's controversial embryo ruling. It comes after a growing number of fertility clinics and transport services announced they are pausing embryo transfers in and out of the state. NBC News senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett has more. Laura, good morning.
Hey there, it's been a little over a week since that Alabama court decision changed everything for so many families going through IVF or hoping to do so soon. Many finding their options on how to move forward increasingly complicated right now.
With IVF on hold for many in Alabama, patients hoping to finish their treatment somewhere else are hitting more roadblocks this morning.
My patients with embryos frozen can not only not have an embryo transfer with me to become pregnant, but they also can't take their embryos elsewhere. It's wasted time and money.
That's because some embryo shipping companies have now opted to halt all business in and out of Alabama, following in the footsteps of fertility clinics that abruptly paused all IVF last week, trying to avoid lawsuits after the Alabama Supreme Court ruled embryos are unborn children, making their destruction potentially a wrongful death.
As a physician, I never thought that I would have to wait on the legislature to tell me how to do my job.
The legal buying IVF doctors are in right now, putting increasing pressure on Alabama lawmakers to do something.
Let's just find a way to get something done so we can pass this and get it to the governor.
The controversy making its way into the race for the White House, too.
If they need to do legislation to fix it, that's fine, but I don't want states to have knee-jerk reactions to where they insert government into these conversations between doctors and parents.
I'm calling on the Alabama legislature to act quickly to find an immediate solution to preserve the availability of IVF.
But some in the GOP have a record on this issue at odds with their current public support of IVF. House Speaker Mike Johnson issuing a statement describing IVF as, quote, a blessing for many moms and dads, but at the same time co-sponsored legislation last year defining human being to include all stages of life, including the moment of fertilization. That same definition at the heart of the Alabama court ruling that put IVF in jeopardy, and if enacted, could compromise IVF procedures nationwide.
Some Democratic lawmakers are now suggesting new federal legislation is needed to protect IVF at the national level. But in the meantime, for patients wondering why the shipping companies are pausing everything, it all goes back to the concern that something could happen in transit to the frozen embryos. Say a truck breaks down and they thaw accidentally. That creates potential legal liability for their destruction. Back to you.
Republican Congressman Byron Donalds also expressed his views on the controversial ruling over the weekend on Meet the Press. Here's moderator Kristen Welker with some of the highlights.
Hello there, Savannah. This week on Meet the Press, I spoke with Republican Congressman Byron Donalds. Here's his reaction to the Alabama Supreme Court's ruling that frozen embryos are considered children. I want to talk about the Alabama IVF ruling. This week, you said that you agreed with the state Supreme Court's decision that embryos are children. I just want to put a fine point on this. Do you support IVF as it is practiced in the United States, which involves the production of embryos that are sometimes destroyed or even donated if they're unused?
Well, first, I do support IVF because I have several friends that have gone through that procedure. It has made their families whole. It's allowed them to have children. Their children are beautiful. They're wonderful. I totally support the procedure. Number two, when the NBC reporter asked me that question, I was in the middle of a hallway. I heard the tail end of it. I didn't hear about the Alabama ruling. It was about, do I support that embryos should be protected as life? Look, embryos are important to the production of life. We all come from embryos. That's what I said because I heard half her question. But do I support the IVF procedure? 100% I do. It should be made available. And I believe, as President Trump has also said, we really want the Alabama legislature to make sure that that procedure is protected for families who do struggle with having children. That helps them actually create great families, which is what our country desperately needs.
So just to be very clear, though, if you believe that embryos are children, do you think they should be treated as people with all the same legal rights as people?
Well, I think now you're getting to a personhood argument. And this is where a lot of the details in legislation, not just court rulings, are important. I believe that this is something that the legislatures have to make sure they weigh and walk themselves through. The IVF procedure is very important to a lot of couples in our country. It should be protected. I agree with President Trump on that. But when we get into these conversations, it's important to delineate from what just one judge might say versus what a legislature and a governor will decide when they go through the legislative process.
You can see my full interviews and a lot more at meetthepress.com. You can also get more Meet the Press here on NBC News Now every weekday at 4 p.m.
All right, Kristen, thank you so much. Now let's get a look at what to expect from the week ahead with your Morning News Now weather. Michelle Grossman is with us this Monday. Hey, Michelle, good morning.
Hey there, Savannah. Good morning. And we are looking at a battle of the seasons because some spots will feel like spring, some will feel like summer, and really wintry throughout the West. Once again, we're looking at heavy snow, measuring that snow in feet once again. Really gusty winds gusting up to 60, 70 miles per hour. You combine that with the heavy snow falling at 1 inch, 2 inches per hour. We're going to have some snow squalls, and we're also going to have some blowing snow. So that's going to create some tricky travel as we head out on this Monday throughout the Intermountain West and Northern Rockies especially. Then in the middle of the country, we're looking at record highs. Temperatures even 30, 45 degrees above normal for this time of year in some spots. The southern plains will feel like summer as we head into the 90s today. And it's going to be mild, too, in the mid-Atlantic, the southeast, along the Carolinas as well. Then as we near Wednesday, we are looking at heavy rain in portions of the Tennessee Valley, rain in the northeast, some snow on the backside. This is a cold front that's going to be moving through, so it's going to wipe out that warmer air. It's also going to bring some really cold air back behind that cold front. That's why you're seeing snow throughout the Midwest into portions of the interior parts of the Northeast into New England, sharply colder in the middle of the country. We're going to see a 40-degree drop in some spots. Still looking at snow, some rain in the Northwest, the Pacific Northwest on Wednesday. Could see a little rain, too, in parts of the Southwest. Then as we head towards Friday, we are looking at snow continuing in the Northwest, the Intermountain West, where you see the blue and the white, rain and snow also in the lower elevations of Northern California. Spring-like once again, so we're going to rebound quickly in the middle of the country on Friday. Looking at the chance for some rain, you'll need the umbrellas from the Carolinas to parts of the Tennessee Valley and also the Mississippi Valley into the southeast. Let's talk about the warmth because we are looking at temperatures, again, 45 degrees above normal for this time of year in some spots. We're going to break records. We could break 100 records over the next few days, and that would be within 25 states. So where you see these red dots, that's where we're looking at the chance for breaking some records. Temperatures soaring into the 90s. 93 is the forecasted high in Dallas today, 84 in Fort Smith, really warm in Chicago near 70 degrees, and Paducah, you're going to be near 80 degrees, forecasted high of 78 degrees. The record there is 73. Warm once again in the southern plains tomorrow. San Angelo, 90 degrees, Baton Rouge, 82. Still warm in portions of the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, Detroit, 62. Nashville near 80 degrees tomorrow. And then we'll take that plummet. We'll take the plummet a little bit later in New York City because on Wednesday, we're going to look at temperatures 62 degrees. That's well above normal for this time of year. Big drop off, though, by Thursday as that cold front comes through, 46 degrees. Raleigh, 76 on Wednesday, 58 degrees on Thursday. Let's talk about that wintry weather because 5 million people under winter alerts. We have winter storm watches, winter weather advisories. We have wind warnings, wind advisories, 8 million people impacted. High wind warnings, that's in your purple. And Savannah, we could see winds gusting up to 70 miles per hour. And then we'll end it here because I do want to note tomorrow we're watching the chance for some strong storms in the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, Tuesday night into Wednesday. But Angie will be back tomorrow. She'll talk more about that. Back to you.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much. We've got much more to come on this Monday edition of Morning News Now, including the brewing controversy surrounding one beloved post-game celebration. I'll tell you about the fans calling for court storming to be banned. Plus, retirement is on the minds of many Americans this morning with a record number of people turning 65 in 2024. So if you're thinking about your golden years, how can you best prepare? We've got some tips. Stick around. Welcome back. We're learning more this morning about that shooting on the campus of the University of Georgia, where a nursing student was killed last week. Meanwhile, police are investigating a separate incident after another student was killed, this time at a small college in Kentucky. NBC News correspondent Marissa Parra joins us from Athens, Georgia, with the latest. Marissa, good morning.
Savannah, good morning. Classes here at UGA resume today for the first time since Thursday evening. And even though there's been an arrest in last week's murder, students here are still anxious. We've spoken to some women who say they refuse to walk alone, others carrying pepper spray for the first time. All of this as there's a renewed push to address safety on campus.
This morning, tributes are growing for Laken Riley, a 22-year-old nursing student murdered while jogging by this lake at the University of Georgia. The 26-year-old suspect, Jose Antonio Ibarra, a non-U.S. citizen from Venezuela, now charged with her murder. Police say they had no prior relationship.
This was a crime of opportunity.
Immigration officials say Ibarra was previously arrested when he illegally entered the U.S. in 2022. A year later, he was arrested in New York City for acting in a manner to injure a child less than 17. He was released both times. And just days after the UGA attack, tragedy striking another college campus. Kentucky's Campbellsville University sent into lockdown Saturday after 18-year-old student Josiah Kilman was found dead inside of his dorm room. Another student at the school, 21-year-old Charles Escalera, now charged with murder. Both had been members of the school's wrestling team. Kilman's family writing in a statement, Josiah influenced many hearts as he was a true example of compassion, kindness, and love. As yet another college campus is shaken, students are taking action. Some keeping pepper spray at the ready for the first time.
Got this from my dad. I've had it for a while, but I've honestly never felt the need to carry it until now.
A UGA student petition with roughly 25,000 signatures is also asking the school to reinstall blue emergency call boxes that were removed 20 years ago and replaced by a safety app.
Being able to just see the light itself, not having to reach into your pocket and pull out your phone and put in your password, and there's a lot more steps.
As UGA's first day back to class begins, so does the process of keeping Laken Riley's memory alive.
She lit up every single room that she walked into.
Bianca Tiller and Riley were freshman roommates. Tiller says Riley loved to help people. She was pursuing a career in something that came naturally.
She was just the most selfless person.
Riley's funeral will be held later this week in her hometown, but students today will get their own chance to say goodbye at a campus vigil later this afternoon. Savannah.
All right, Marissa, thank you so much. Let's get you international headlines now. A gunman attacked a Catholic church in Burkina Faso, killing at least 15 people. NBC News international correspondent Claudio Lavanga joins us with that and other world news. Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. That's right. Church officials in Burkina Faso said that on Sunday, gunmen opened fire, or rather attacked a community of Catholic worshippers as they prepared to go to the church in the north of the country, killing at least 15 people. Now, the vicar general of the local Catholic diocese said in a statement that 12 people died at the scene and 3 others died later from their wounds. The attack took place in the village of Esakane and was called a terrorist attack by authorities there. There was was no immediate claim of responsibility for the shooting, but it took place in a region where in the past armed groups have targeted Christian churches and kidnapped the clergy. Let's go over to the South Pacific island of Tuvalu, where former Attorney General Feleti Teo was named Prime Minister after the previous leader, Kausea Natano, lost the election a month ago. It is still not clear how the change will affect the relationship between the small island with other nations in the region, including Australia, China, and Taiwan. Last November, Australia proposed to help Tuvalu in response to major natural disasters and military aggression in exchange of Australia's veto power over any security or defense-related agreement Tuvalu wants to make with any other country, including China. Why is this important? Well, because currently Tuvalu is one of only 12 countries that have official diplomatic ties with Taiwan. It's unclear if the new Prime Minister wants to honor the deal with Australia and keep preferring Taiwan over China. Let's end with some good news for those traveling to Paris soon. The Eiffel Tower has reopened to visitors following a 6-day strike by employees. They were demanding better maintenance of the iconic landmark, which is showing widespread traces of rust. Concerned workers warned the tower was heading for disaster because its business model, they say, is based on an overestimation of future revenue from ticket sales and an underestimation of escalating maintenance and repair costs. In a statement, the tower's operator said it agreed to an ambitious $400 million up to 2031 towards maintenance and renovation of the 135-year-old attraction.
Wow.
Back to you, Savannah.
All right, super interesting. Claudio, thank you so much. Well, this year, more Americans than ever are turning 65, with just over 4 million people reaching that traditional retirement age. Meanwhile, many younger people still have to get their heads around what they need to do to save for retirement down the road. Well, here to help us understand all this and help with planning retirement finances, we've got NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here. Okay, so this, you were telling me this is actually being called the silver tsunami, right? So this like whole wave of people turning 65 at this point. First of all, that age isn't quite the full retirement age anymore. What is this?
So Social Security has been slowly over the past 20 years moving further down the age zone, your age for retirement. So if you were born in 1959, your full retirement age is considered 66 years old in 10 months. If you were born 60 and after, it's 67 years old. And when you start taking Social Security is incredibly important. The earlier you begin taking it, the less you get. And so financial advisors will tell you, you want to wait until the ripe old age of 70 before you start taking that benefit, because over the course of your lifetime, you will earn more. And let's remember here, Social Security isn't the whole pile of money that you should have saved by the time you get to retirement. You need to be investing along the way. Social Security will be part of it. And people are also working later. This isn't like our grandparents who got a gold watch and then they retired from the working life. You know, a lot of people are still working in some manner.
Absolutely. What should goals be at each age then?
Right. So time is your superpower. The longer you are saving, the better it will be for you. And Fidelity has a rule of thumb. This is just a rule of thumb. But at the age of 30, you should have 1 times your current salary in a retirement account. That means if you make $55,000 at 30 years old, you should have $55,000 in a 401k. And remember, your company is matching you along the way. So that means over time, you're going to be even saving more money. By age 67, that number right there terrifies people when they see it. But the earlier you start, you need to be saving along the way. Just a rule of thumb.
Wow, I've never heard those numbers. That's interesting. So for people who maybe didn't save much in their younger years, what can they do? How can they catch up?
So there is a catch-up provision. The IRS allows you to stash away another $7,500 a year in a traditional 401k on top of the regular contribution. So if you're 50 years old, you got to start doing some math. You might even be saving for college or have a kid in college at this age, because we are not our parents' and grandparents' generation. We're having kids later. So you have to be managing retirement savings, paying for college, paying for your everyday expenses. It can seem like a lot, but if you're budgeting and you start early and then at 50 you try to catch up, that can help as well.
So where should people be saving their money? What's the best place for that right now?
Well, it's so interesting. Last week we had record highs in the stock market again. And over the course of my career, betting against the American stock market has been a losing bet. So the longer you are invested, it's important. Now, if you are a year away from retirement, you certainly shouldn't have 100% of your money in the stock market. You need to have an asset allocation that reflects whether you can sleep at night with all of your money in just the stock market. You need bonds, you need stocks, you need cash, you need real estate in your portfolio. All of these things you can look at your 401k manager. They have tools and calculators. It's really important not to just set it and forget it, but over time, reevaluate your goals and make sure you're positioned properly. You know, and it used to be you had a pension. So you retire at 65, you got the gold watch, the retirement party, you got 60% of your salary until you died. That is not the world we're living in now. A lot of people are healthier, they're wealthier, they want to keep working, and they don't have a pension. 401k is you got to really be actively participating in the 401k. You know, pension was just something that you were part of and didn't have to think about. This is a different kind of zone we're heading into. 11,200 people will turn 65 today.
Yeah,
isn't that amazing?
Wow. Just today.
A record number. Happy birthday.
Yeah, exactly. Very interesting. A big topic of conversation in my family as my in-laws are getting ready to retire. Christine, thank you so much. Great stuff. Well, the artificial intelligence boom has helped one company leapfrog Amazon and Google owner Alphabet to become the third largest company in the country. NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung takes a closer look at the rise of tech giant NVIDIA.
It's the $2 trillion company captivating social media.
Who was watching NVIDIA earnings today and their heart was literally skipping a beat?
NVIDIA, the chips maker selling a majority of the tech powering artificial intelligence. The rapid development of generative AI tools relying on the processors NVIDIA makes. What is it that NVIDIA offers that AI needs so much?
They offer the chips, the hardware, the networking, the software to make deploying artificial intelligence extremely easy.
NVIDIA shares still popping here.
After saying earlier this week that its profits soared, the stock jumped, propelling NVIDIA to the third largest company in the U.S., behind only Microsoft and Apple.
I made $560.
Caitlin Mackey among the young investors putting their faith in NVIDIA. She says conversation about the stock even comes up on dates. Does that feel normal to you?
There's nothing about what's going on with technology right now that feels normal.
Another winner, CEO Jensen Huang, now on the cusp of becoming one of the 20 wealthiest people in the world.
It's definitely a watershed event for the AI industry.
For both AI and NVIDIA, the sky is now the limit. Brian Chung, NBC News, New York.
Coming up, excitement over that upcoming solar eclipse is really heating up across the country. Some cities in its path are actually seeing a travel boom as we get closer. How some local governments are now preparing for a major tourism boost. Up next. We are back with an NBC News investigation on guns in America. Federal data obtained by a gun violence prevention group shows which dealers are selling firearms that are most often linked to crimes. Here's NBC News correspondent Stephanie Gosk with more.
In April last year, Connor Sturgeon opened fire on his colleagues at the Louisville bank where they worked, killing 5 with an RF-15 rifle. Dana Mitchell was shot in the back.
Within a second, he shot the person in the hallway. And that split second gave me time to duck.
You were afraid he was going to come back.
Oh, yes.
And kill you.
Yes.
6 days before, the 25-year-old bought the RF-15 and 120 rounds. The police report included this note handwritten by Sturgeon after getting the gun. "Oh my God, this is so easy."
I know that it's really easy to buy a gun, but it almost felt like that he was bragging about how easy it was.
River City Firearms, where Sturgeon bought the gun, has not been charged with any crime. But data obtained by the gun violence prevention group Brady and reviewed by NBC News reveals that the ATF notified the dealer that a large number of guns bought at the store have been used in crimes. A dealer gets a letter like this one when at least 25 of its firearms sold in the last 3 years are traced to crimes in the previous 12 months. The agency has sent more than 1,500 dealers these notifications since 2022, according to the data.
River City Firearms didn't get just one letter. Brady says the store has been continually flagged, telling us that between 2020 and 2022, at least 75 crimes were committed with guns bought right here.
The ATF says the letter does not mean a dealer has engaged in any form of wrongdoing. A number of factors, including geography, sales volume, and the resale of guns, can be to blame. In 2003, Congress passed a law prohibiting the ATF from releasing firearm trace data to the public. Brady says it relied on the Freedom of Information Act to compel the agency to release the letters.
Understanding where these guns are coming from allows us to turn off the flow of trafficked firearms at their source and stop flooding communities that are most impacted.
A trade organization for the firearms industry disagrees.
Nobody in the industry wants to see criminals obtaining firearms.
National Shooting Sports Foundation says releasing the information publicly could hamper law enforcement and be used to name and shame gun dealers unfairly when there's no way to conclude the dealer is at fault.
Not from the mere fact that a gun has been traced and that the dealer is the person who sold it after a background check supported by the industry to a consumer.
Brady argues that policymakers, regardless of where they stand on the issue of gun control, need access to the ATF data.
So that we can have vigorous debates about what the best solutions are.
Dana Mitchell is one of 5 people suing River City Firearms, accusing it of a reckless dereliction of duty, arguing Sturgeon's behavior at the store should have raised red flags. NBC News reached out to the store, but they declined to comment.
Should there not be some liability there? You're the first line of defense to keep those weapons off the street and out of the hands of people that have no business having them.
Mitchell believes in the right to bear arms, but lives with a daily reminder of the damage that can be done by someone she says never should have had one. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, Louisville, Kentucky.
Let's get you some money news now, starting with a new survey showing some not so great numbers for potential home buyers. CNBC's Silvana Hanau has that and other money news. Silvana, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, good morning to you. Yes, so more than half of would-be homebuyers say they earn too little to afford a house. A new survey from Bankrate finds 51% also say the current cost of living is just too high for them to afford a down payment and closing cost. Rising home prices and mortgage rates are limiting how much homebuyers can afford. The average price was $379,000 in January. That's up 5% from a year ago. Google's AI chatbot is about to slide into your DMs. The company is rolling out Gemini as an update to messages this week, although just initially for people enrolled in Google's beta testing program. Gemini will be able to handle basic tasks such as drafting messages and helping to plan events. Android Auto is also getting more AI features. The app can now summarize and voice long text or chat threads so you can keep your eyes on the road. And Krispy Kreme is celebrating an extra day on the calendar this year. Customers can get a dozen original glazed donuts for $2.29 on Thursday, February 29th. That's Leap Day, with a purchase of any regularly priced dozen. And if you happen to be a leap year baby, you can get a free dozen original glazed, no purchase necessary. You just have to show proof you were born on the 29th, Savannah.
That's fun. Good for them. All right, Silvana, thank you so much.
You got it.
Well, we're just 6 weeks away from an out-of-this-world event, a total solar eclipse. It's the first major eclipse in 7 years. So many people are making plans to travel hundreds of miles just to get the best possible look. NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson has more.
This eclipse is going to be a travel boom for small towns in its path. Here in Killeen, Texas, this entire downtown street is going to be shut down to traffic, full of vendors and visitors. Already, Bell County is declaring a state of emergency in anticipation of the influx.
A cosmic event for the ages, shaping up to be the hottest ticket in town. On April 8th, a total eclipse of the sun will plunge millions of viewers from daylight into darkness for more than 4 captivating minutes in parts of the country. And excitement is already building as so-called eclipse tourists rush to book travel to be in its path.
Literally, the stars are aligning.
The total eclipse will span a 115-mile wide path across 13 states from Texas to Maine. That's nearly twice as wide as the last major eclipse in 2017, and it will also last twice as long. Towns and cities lucky enough to be in the path of totality have been preparing for months, if not years, like the small city of Columbus, Indiana.
I feel like we've kind of hit the cosmic lottery. We're planning, downtown festivals with bands playing and vendors and food trucks.
Bell County, Texas, already declaring a state of emergency because its population of nearly 400,000 could double, maybe even triple.
Everything from our first responders
to our healthcare systems, to our fueling stations, to our highways, to our emergency management stations, and more. All of these could be severely strained by the influx of people.
Still, the owners of the Mint restaurant and bar are looking forward to the economic boon.
I'm excited about an insurgence of tourism.
Hotel rates are spiking throughout the eclipse's path, but in Carbondale, Illinois, Doy Gorton refused to raise the price of his rental listing.
It's a time to gather together and connect with, people with our shared humanity. What it's not a time to do is rip people off and to make a quick buck.
Some resorts offering luxury cosmic-themed stays for thousands of dollars. Others will get the chance to catch the eclipse from the sky. Delta offering a flight from Austin to Detroit to give onlookers an out-of-this-world view.
And that flight sold out in 24 hours. And for folks who are still weighing whether they should come or not, I do just want to point out that the U.S. will not see another eclipse like this for 20 years. And of course, since I'm in town, I had to pick up the hottest accessory here. I have got my glasses. I am ready. These are sure to sell out, and I did pick up an extra pair. So if anyone wants to make their way down to Texas, I've got you covered. Although, good luck finding a hotel room. Back to you.
All right, Priscilla, on my way. Thank you. Coming up, it's a celebration of diversity that's taking one major snow sport destination by storm. It's all for a good cause. We'll bring you more on that up next. We are back now with yet another big night for Oppenheimer. This time it was last night's Producers Guild of America Awards. The film took home the award for Outstanding Producer of Theatrical Motion Pictures. This is just one day after it won Best Film Ensemble at the Screen Actors Guild Awards. Some of the other big winners for the night were Beef, Succession, and The Bear. Love all three of those shows. They took home the awards for Producer of Episodic Television, Producer of Limited or Anthology Series Television, and Producer of Episodic Television. There you go. So now we just got to wait and see what happens at the Oscars. Now let's head to Big Sky, Montana, where the largest gathering of black skiers and snowboarders in the country is currently taking place. Since 1973, the National Brotherhood of Snow Sports has gotten together to raise money to support black Olympians. For more, we are joined by national travel expert Davey Sutton, who's at this year's celebration. Davey, good morning. Thank you for joining us. This is so neat. Tell us about this amazing gathering and how it does help black Olympians.
Yeah, so thanks for having me, Savannah. I was hoping to give you a classic Big Sky shot, but we're 2 hours behind you, so the sun hasn't risen yet. But yeah, this is the National Brotherhood of Snow Sports Annual Summit, which is a fundraiser for NBS Olympic Scholarship Fund, which helps support and promote diversity of athletes of color. So this week, there will be about a couple hundreds of black skiers and snowboarders on the ski hill with competitions we can participate in. I'm a snowboarder, so I'm going to be out there. And there was this beautiful opening ceremony. There's going to be a barbecue cookout, and of course, the après-ski event. So much fun, and it's just a beautiful sight to see.
I got to say, I am not a winter sports enthusiast, but I am all about the après activities, so I would be right there. But it's so cool, such a neat event. Let's switch gears and talk a little bit now. Just generally, you are always so helpful to us as a travel expert for us. Some travel advice coming up. I mean, we're heading into spring break season already, and I know some travelers are actually going on what's called a coolcation. So instead of heading to somewhere like a beach, what you think of spring break as, heading somewhere a little bit colder. Tell us about this.
Yeah, because it turns out that, popular destinations have spiked, like Finland, Iceland, Greenland, and here in the States, Colorado and Big Sky, Montana, they have extended ski seasons. Last year, Colorado, they got to ski to June. Here in Big Sky, the tourism board, they told me that they expect through the end of April. So some spring skiing, if that's on your list. Big Sky, Montana is known as a haven for outdoor adventurers all year round. But here, I want to give you a quick trip planning tip for you. I was brought here by Verbo. And so a bunch of us are staying in a Verbo house. And that's the way to do it if you're on a group trip, Savannah, with friends or family. You get a big house and everyone has their own room and their own bathroom.
Yeah, it's so nice, too, when you just all get to wake up in the same place and get your day started right away. I think it's always so fun to stay in a house with people. Okay, so if you are headed out for spring break, I know you've got some safety tips for us. Just remind us, travelers who are maybe headed to an unfamiliar city, particularly, of course, if somebody's traveling alone, but just remind us what people need to keep in mind.
Yeah, so beware of the surroundings when you go to new places. Typically, what I mean is typically people let their guard down when they're on vacation. You should relax and you should have fun, but also pay attention. Also, don't draw attention to yourself. I know it's in vogue to wear all your flashy and luxurious clothing, but that may heighten your risk of being targeted as easy prey as somebody who is traveling. Never post on social media what you're doing in real time. I know we want to take the photos and the video for social media sharing, but wait until you leave that location or leave that hotel and then share with your fans and your friends.
That's a really good piece of advice. I would not have thought about that. Not exactly showing where you are at the exact moment. I like it. All right, Davey Sutton, thank you for joining us and covering it all for us this morning. Enjoy, have fun over the next few days there. It looks like a blast.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. See you soon. That is going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now. Stay with us, though.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.